Hello, welcome to this week's Momentum series. Coach Phill here, and again, we are here to make sure that, hey, you're having the momentum that you need to, you're doing what you ought to, you're pushing, you're making things happen, and you're having a good time at the same time. This week, I just thought that, hey, we need to kind of catch up a little bit. I mean, this is week 7. Can you imagine? Week 7, and we're rocking and rolling, but there's certain things that you must be reminded of. There's certain things that are fundamentals. There's certain things that we have to continue doing throughout the year, throughout the weeks, to ensure that we remain on course. Most importantly, we achieve that goal and make 2017 an epic year. So today I decided I was going to share with you the 6G's. The 6G's that will ensure that you get to the end successful. And the 6G's are, there might be things that I have said before, and there might be things that I will repeat, but guess what? There's not too many big-time new formulas out there. It is the same stuff. And sometimes you got to be reminded. Sometimes we all have to be told, hey, you know what? Just get reminded about certain things. Because, I know it's not easy out there. I know sometimes you get sidetracked. Sometimes you're going to wake up and you just don't want to get up and do some stuff. Sometimes you're just going to think, why the hell? Sometimes it's you're going to get a lot of rejection. You need a bit of a reminder once in a while to know that, you know what, hey, it is part of the journey, and hey, it is what we ought to do going forward. So here come the 6G's. Number 1, gratitude. Write it down. I hope you have your journals. Gratitude. Now, I don't know of a bigger, better motivating force than gratitude. In all the books that you look at, whichever philosophy you look at, gratitude is known as one of the greatest motivators, one of those things that puts you in a great state. I said to you that one of the things that you do in your routines in the morning is to get up and journal. And if you look at all the journaling, if you look at all the books in the world that talk about success, they will always tell you, write down what you're grateful for. Write down what it is that you've been blessed with. Because remember, what you appreciate goes up. What you appreciate becomes bigger. Okay, so the first thing that you have to be reminded of as you're going through is be grateful for the journey. Be grateful for what you're going through. Be grateful for the wins. Be grateful for, sometimes it might not be that it is a great thing, but you might just get a aha moment, or you might learn something. I must tell you that when I was preparing for this yesterday, I was went for a funeral service, and it's for a fantastic man. Died a little bit too early, I think, Julien. He was an operations manager for a big client of mine. An awesome guy, And I found myself being grateful that I met the guy. But everybody that I spoke to, every 1 or 2, 3 guys, they would say, you know what, I am grateful I met this guy. I am grateful I met this guy. Why is that? Why is that? Because they had this feeling that, you know what, to let him go, for you to remain appreciative of what the situation was the best way was to be grateful, So one thing that we must start with, every freaking day you wake up, you do your journaling, and then you just write, what am I grateful for today? Okay? Or if it is at the end of the day, what am I grateful for today? Gratitude is such a powerful force. When you're grateful, you're fearless. When you're grateful, you are motivated to go and do what you have to do. So yes, let's go and be much more grateful. G number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is growth. Okay? Without growth, what is the point? Tony Robbins says, in life, you're either growing or dying. Okay? It is a fact of life. So if you're moving in 2017, but you're doing something where you're not growing, where you're not getting better, where you're not expanding your awareness, where you're not expanding your knowledge base, then it's going to be a little bit harder. So I am saying, hey, do some stuff that is going to grow you. Get out of your comfort zone. Remember, we said in an earlier video, your comfort zone is direct proportion of how much you earn. So you got to make it bigger, get out of it, and in doing that, you're going to grow. So if you're doing anything where you're not growing, guess what? It's not going to be as exciting. Most importantly, it will be harder to get to the end and achieve your goal. So you must be growing. Whatever you're doing, you must be learning. You must be growing. I am growing through these videos. I am growing through everything that we're doing. I am growing as a trainer. I am growing as, I was doing some training in Cameroon the other day, and I had to get out of my comfort zone. I was, there was a translator, and I thought, the translator did not have the same passion with me. I had to grow out of that. And then I realized, you know what? Sometimes people will pick up the passion even if they don't understand the language, okay? That was growth for me. But initially I was frustrated. I was thinking, what am I going to do? Then at the end of it, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to share my heart. And in doing that, all of a sudden, standing ovation, I'm thinking, whoa, that is good. But I grew so much. It's unbelievable. So you must be growing. Whatever goal you have set for yourself in 2017, you must be growing. You must be getting better. G number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is you must have a game plan. I keep reminding you, you must have a journal. You must have started from the start. Remember, we said, be clear of what it is you want. Write it down and then break it down and say, okay, what am I going to do by what time? You must have a game plan in detail, okay? One of the things that separates doers and non-doers, or achievers and non-achievers, is everybody wants something. Everybody has a desire. But the lack of a real game plan of how they're going to achieve it is always missing. And if it's missing, then you find that you get to a certain stage and you don't know what the next step is going to be. Why? You didn't have your game plan sorted out. So I'm saying, hey, go back to the first 2-3 pages. Go back through the Momentum series. Make sure that you have your game plan to the T, okay? If not, Momentum Live is coming up. Those of you who can come over to Kampala, we're going to be rocking and rolling, and one of the things we'll help you to do is to clarify the game plan and say, okay, this is how I'm going to execute. This is what I'm going to do at this time and this time and this time. Game plan, ladies and gentlemen, is important. Every week you get up, go back and say, hey, what was I supposed to do here? Okay, look at your calendar. I hope you're going back to your calendar and finding out how much progress you're making. If you're not, guess what? 2017 will give you that October feeling. However, I know by the fact that you're watching this one, this particular series, and you've come all the way up to now, I'm sure you get it that, hey, it is important. We got to get a game plan going. We got to make 2017 epic. Next G, ladies and gentlemen, is G number 5, which is grit. You know, I was looking at this when I was planning to come and say, and grit in the dictionary is having the courage and resolve, having the strength of character to do what you ought to do. Now, let's face it, if you're coming through 2017 with the same kind of attitude of you know, it's going to be, and you're not being courageous, and you're not stepping up, and you're not digging deep, it's going to be hard. And then the story is going to be the freaking same. Now, what is the point of that? You know, I am saying get some grit, get some courage, and say, you know what? Whatever it is, if it is humanly possible, then it is up to me to make it happen. Remember, I have told you from day one, if you want something you've never done, you got to do what you've never done before. And I am saying one of the things is to have the courage to say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. You know, grit is, you know, one of those strength of character things that we must. It is not. We don't get born with it. You know, we got to practice it. We got to say, you know what? Every week I'm going to do something that takes me out of my comfort zone. Every week I'm going to do something that strengthens my character. Okay. Now go back through there and say, okay, where have I been able to do this? Where am I? You know, which are those 2-3 things that I have to do this week, this month, to build my grit? Because without grit, it's going to be hard. You know, without grit is like, it gives you traction to move, you know. It gives you traction to lay a foundation to jump to the next level. Okay? So, hey, go back and say, okay, what are those 2-3 things that I need to confront? Okay, do I need courage to get rid of something in myself? Do I need courage to go and meet somebody? Do I need courage to go and speak to the bank manager? Do I need courage to go and sell my idea? Okay? And it is through courage that all of a sudden we find ourselves doing things that we never thought we would do. Besides, what's the worst that can happen? Think about it. What is the worst that can happen? Okay? So, grit is G number 5. G number 6 is giving back. Giving back, giving back, giving back, giving back. One of the greatest things you can do for you in your life is to find time to give back. Is to find ways to give back. Is to find ways to be relevant. You know, again, I found myself reflecting in church while we were praying for the gentleman who passed, and all of a sudden, you know, everybody was saying he was such a nice guy. He was doing this and he was doing that, and then all of a sudden, I had this moment of, hey, you know, when your time comes, and it is inevitably going to come, what is the story going to be? what are people going to say? Will they be crying and without anything to say about your death? Will they be, I was actually thinking, who's going to be there praying? By the way, for me, I want a celebration. I want a party. I don't want people crying. I just want a party. I want people to come and celebrate a life that was lived. That is why I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you and me make a real big difference. However, before that, ladies and gentlemen, find a way to give back. And it doesn't have to be necessarily money. Find a way to spend time giving back. Find a way to I have my good old sister, and she's got this project in Karamoja, and it's a fantastic thing where she cooks for these street kids, and the times that I have done it, it's such an emotional, fulfilling thing. It's amazing. But something interesting happens. If you look at all the rich guys out there, have you noticed they're giving back quite a bit? There's a reason why. Think about it. One of the ways you're going to make sure that you're not only going through the grit and working hard and doing all, but you're going through the journey and adventure and smelling the roses and enjoying the journey. And one of the ways is to give back. Okay? So there you have your 6G's. Number 1, gratitude. Number 2, you got to grow. Number 3, you got to have a game plan, detailed game plan. Number 4, you got to have grit. Number 5, you got to give back. I missed one. Group composition. I apologize. Group composition. Who are you surrounding yourself with? By the way, this is something you have to review over and over and over again. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are taking you to the next level? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are lifting you up and encouraging you? Are you surrounding yourself with people who just, they just tell you how good things are and they never challenge you? Or are you surrounding yourself with people who tell you the way it is? People who care about you will tell you in your face if you're not doing what you ought to do. People who care and love you will tell you when you have screwed up. Why? They care. So who are you surrounding yourself with? I want to surround myself with people who take me to the next level. Okay, right now on a mission to get in touch with more people. I was talking to Jeff, one of my mentors, and the reason I talk to him is because he's always at a high level and I want to go to the next level. And he mentioned 1 or 2 people that I'm going to go and, I'm going to go and make sure that I can begin to talk to them. I was talking to another friend of mine, Florentine, French guy, and I was telling him, we need to have dinner on Wednesday. Why? I want to talk to people who are stretching me, I was in Cameroon the other day and I was given the option. You can either go to a brass band or you can go and spend dinner with Imran. I said, bloody hell, I'm going to spend dinner with Imran. Why? He's playing at a high level. Because the group of people you surround yourself with determines your thinking, determines how much you're inspired, determines how much you can step up. I went to a gentleman's house and, man, this guy lives a really refined life. Everything in his house is really refined. And I was thinking, I said, I want some of that. That is not something I'd have gotten if I'd gone out in a brass band or whatever. The group of people you surround yourself with determines how far you're going to go. So I'm saying this year, change your freaking friends if they're not up that level. Now, every time I say this, somebody say, yeah, coach, but I can't let my friends go. Okay, don't hang around with them so much. Simple as that, okay? You want to go to the next level, you got to have people who take you to the next level, all right? So there you go. There are your 6Gs. However, even in this particular module 7, I just feel that, hey, we need a little bit of a reminder. We need to know that we're keeping what? Because without progress, without checking on our progress, we might kind of lose our way, okay? So I just wanted to remind you on some of the things, some of the important things we've spoken about in the last series, okay? Every 7 or so series, we're going to do a quick reminder, okay? Remember, from day 1, we started with clarity. Pick that one goal. Why were we talking about one? Because if you have so many of them, you have your energies split, you never get a chance to put energy and focus in one thing, okay? Remember, where energy goes, where focus goes, energy goes. Where energy goes, you get results. Okay, so we were saying, pick that one goal and work on it like crazy. Okay, right now for us, velocity, period, end of story. Okay, number 2 is to come up with the most effective, most amazing experiences when we do live seminars. That is what we're doing. That is what we're working on. Why? That is our clarity. That is our focus. That is our one goal. Number 2, remember we spoke about self-discipline. We said without it, it becomes harder. Without the self-discipline to stay on course, to change your diet, to stop doing what doesn't contribute to the bigger picture. Remember, We said self-discipline is one of those fundamental things you must work on. Okay? Next one, your self-esteem and confidence. Okay? Remember that? What have you done to work on your self-esteem? What have you done to say, you know what, I'm enough. It's okay. I am grounded. I'm enough. You know, one of the greatest words you can say to yourself or statement is I'm enough. Every day, every morning, I'm enough. I'm enough. I'm enough. Build your self-confidence, build your self-esteem, and see how you begin to skyrocket. You know, I tell parents that, hey, the best thing you can ever do for your children is teach them to have self-esteem and confidence. Build their self-esteem and see how they flourish, okay? It even goes beyond traditional education, okay? But self-esteem, even for you, okay? Self-confidence, there's so many people out there, they're walking around in a trance, they're so, you know, you meet them, you shake their hand, you feel there's no state, there's no energy. Why? Self-esteem, self-confidence. You want to make 2017 awesome? Change your state and say, you know what, I'm going to make this happen, okay? Let's go. Next one, we talked about how to stay on course. We talked about the 3Ds, the demons, the inside, you know, demons that can prevent you from what? From going to the next level, okay? Remember the demon of doubt, the demon of delay, okay? The demon of differentiation, where you keep yourself away from people, okay? Now, have you gone and looked at that and made an action point to make sure that you're doing what you have to do, okay? Remember the internal controls, okay? And then lastly, remember, hey, you need to make sure that you deal with the negativity and negative people around you, okay? Why? It's important, okay? Now, remember, we didn't say go get rid of them, but we gave you some strategies of how to deal with it. Why? It's important. It's important that you don't have negative energy. Let me tell you, there's nothing that affects your ability to remain in the state of flow like negativity, like negative people. You know, sometimes when and I've noticed, and it happens to me once in a while. I mean, you know, times where you wake up and probably, you know, you're not having a really good time at home. You know, you find that, you know, your ability to step up and do what you ought to do is not there. You know, you feel demoralized, you know, because what? You're in a negative state, there's negative karma around you, okay? Why? Sometimes it's negative people, and sometimes it's a negative self-talk that we have. You know, one of, yesterday again, I was talking to somebody and said, you know, one of the negative people you got to fire is yourself. If you're negative 24/7, fire the freaking person who's negative and bring in the person who's more positive, okay? Why? That positive energy is important. That positive energy is good for you. And it's not just rah, rah, rah of positive energy. No, but seriously, you must be in a good state. You must prime yourself to be able to continue on the journey of making 27 happen. Why? I'll tell you why. Sometimes people spend 3/4 of the year in a negative spiral of negative thoughts, negative this, negative that, and then they wonder why they never hit their goals. And remember, good things are attracted by a good spirit and a good karma. There's not many rich people who are unhappy. If they are, they're not rich. Okay? There's certain people who have, yes, they might have the money, but they're so miserable, you know, you wouldn't even want their money from them. So I am saying, hey, surround yourself with people who are happy, who have a great karma, who, you know, give you some love. You know, we have somebody called Helen in the office. You know, she's got some love, regardless of how crappy the day could be. You just look at her and laugh at her, especially when she screws up half the time. However, she has some good energy. You just have to enjoy it. Okay, finally this week, ladies and gentlemen, execute, execute, execute. Okay, knowledge without execution is poverty. Okay, don't just take this stuff and go and sit down and say, yeah, we'll listen and we'll go. No, get up and do some work. Get up and move, and let's make 2017 an epic year. So whatever you do, as usual, live strong, live with passion, and have the audacity to make a life on your terms.